But before I say that, what do you have in your garage, buddy?
Well, we are in the construction space of my home right now, and
I ask him, and I can see what
there's a lot of yellow and black.
I'm going to call the little blower thing a useless tool, but one of my kits came with a flashlight, so what do I know?
Their pack-out system. Like, look.
I was going to bring that up.
Like, look, dude, why in the...
I might have saw 3 Ryobi hand tools on, like power tools on top.
Yeah, and they're brown.
Yeah, you said my beloved Milwaukee. We're going to get into that. I'm not beloved on anything, but I have my opinions on it, like everything else. Which reminds me, as good as our last episode was, and these ones will probably come out in order now, about union versus non-union, didn't have an unpopular opinion. Just dawned on me.
No,
I guess,
you didn't.
I guess sometimes we're going to forget that. We try to do it every time, but what are you going to do?
Well, we'll just call your unpopular opinion the Forbes.
Yes, maybe that was it. Yes, my unpopular opinion was the part about Forbes at the end of that, for sure.
Anyway, welcome back into the I Shower After Work podcast. We're happy that you're here with us again. Another week, another day, another year, and it's the new year.
Another year, yeah, our new year of our podcast, 2024. Here we go.
Right, and as you just heard, Jason is across the table from me. We're just we're not drinking. We're enjoying our coffee and water and just having a good day here. We're both happy to be back in the recording space again. But overall, Jason, how you doing, man?
Not too bad, buddy. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for listening to us at least once more. John and I really appreciate you. Yeah, as you said, we're not drinking. My spouse and I are big proponents of the aptly named Dry January, which sometimes we succeed and sometimes we don't. So far, we're doing pretty good. At the time of the recording, we're a week in. So,
Right.
So far, I'm staying strong. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the long run. But it's good to keep your addictions in check at least a little bit once a year to know who's still in charge, and to give my crying liver a break.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
But how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's just it's been a wild week after being gone for a week and then working for a week. And that last week kind of sucked.
Yeah. You decided to follow suit with me and take that week between Christmas and New Year's off. And as much as the time off is nice, it sure makes even the short week going back. In our particular case, where we had Monday off with New Year's,
right?
Man, that 4-day week feels like a 9-day week.
Yeah, it really did. My motivation was pretty low. Did get a lot of stuff done though, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's tough to go back after a big break. It's nice that we have the opportunity to take those breaks.
Yes.
Lots of people don't. As we've said, we know there's a lot of companies and a lot of trades where you're right back at it the day after Christmas, and we feel for you. Like, I felt fortunate I was able to take some time this year. I'm glad you were too, because I can't speak for you, buddy, but I think we both needed a little recharge after what we've had going on between both our jobs this last few months. So
Yep, for sure.
And add in that you have the extra job of being a parent, which I also always admit that doesn't really affect me.
That's all right, though.
I'm going to, before we really get going here today, I wanted to give a couple shout outs and then a little piece of information to everybody, if that's all right, pal.
Oh, for sure.
Shout outs. Travis B. Gave us some great feedback. He's been listening to all the episodes. He's been a resource so far. So, Travis, we appreciate you. And Matt O. Some really good feedback from Matt, specifically, not just Matt, but some other people. We took, well, I guess not we, because you said it didn't happen to you. I have gotten a lot of feedback about your electric vehicle rant. And I say yours because
it was me.
We were together, but you're real passionate anti-EV vehicle. And so far, that was the biggest immediate feedback I got people from friends. One specific family member who lives at a state who drives an EV vehicle who was mildly offended, which I was okay with, actually. He's a good dude, but at the same time, it's like, well, we were talking to you in this particular case. So, but yeah, Travis B, Matt O, thank you very much. And Matt's wife and a friend of hers were very interested in going down the road we've been going down these last few months about starting a podcast. So, Matt, make sure your wife and her friend listen to this. He told me the premise, which I'm not going to ruin, but we've got one Wisconsin lady and one lady from down south who are thinking about having comparisons between the same dish from one part of the country to another.
That's fantastic. I'd love to actually.
Ladies, if you're listening, get going. We'd be happy to answer some questions as a resource. It sounds like a good premise. Definitely.
Yeah, call us up.
Yeah, call us up. Reach out to us on the socials. We'd be happy to interact with you. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Don't be scared. Get after it.
Right.
But yeah, Travis and Matt, thank you both very much for everything you gave us for feedback. And for the people who talk to us about the EV thing, well, we're going to have some passionate opinions sometimes. I'm sorry everyone wasn't super happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I edited it and I held that off for a long time. We've had that one recorded for a very long time, and I was very passionate. And I'm like, I questioned putting that one out.
I knew it was going to be divisive.
I'm like, you know what? No, I didn't say anything on there that I didn't believe. So,
no, you were honest, which is good, right? Yeah, you got to be honest sometimes, right?
Now, did it take a hard turn? Absolutely, but I'm also okay with that.
Yeah, listen, folks. So here's the thing. We're going to occasionally, as we go through these, let's say 50% of the time, maybe, towards the end of an episode, we might get lost in the weeds with the numbers and stuff. We're going to try to be better about that. For the people who cut out a little early sometimes because we get into math and things, we don't mean to do that. It's just the nature of what we do here. So thanks for sticking with us as long as you do. But yes, buddy, I got a lot of feedback about the EV rant. That was funny for me. People really, that struck a chord with a lot of people, pro and con. People who were totally behind you, like, yeah, fuck all that shit and everything about it, and fuck all that. And it was really entertaining to get some feedback about that. So
right. And look, at the end of the day, are we going to end up going to EVs? Absolutely. But right now is not the time.
Right.
That's where I was at. CJ Renko, another guy, gave us some great feedback. So we got to shout him out too.
Okay, perfect. CJ, shout you out, man. Thank you for getting back to us. And as always, before we get going here, hit us up on the socials. We're doing a recap episode soon, and we really want lots of feedback so we can talk to people. We'll put as much or as little information about who you are. Let us know your local. Let us know your company.
If you're okay with that.
If you're okay with that. If you're me, don't check with your company. We'll probably leave companies out of it because we work for a couple. It's not like it's advertising or anything, right? But we'll definitely your local, even your area. We'll shout you out, but send us some feedback about some of this stuff because the EV one really really struck a chord with people, buddy.
Yeah.
And then another very quick thing, and we'll get rolling here. I don't want to be a bummer to start out 2024, but I wanted to tell everybody out there that I respect a position we're in that I wasn't familiar with before. My 15-year-old dog, we had to send to the next world a few weeks ago.
Had to say goodbye.
I didn't understand how hard it was to do that. I used to sort of wonder why people would go out and get a brand new dog or a brand new cat immediately right away. For all the people that are in the same position or lost a pet, I really understand now, and I didn't before. God love yous, it's really hard losing a pet. I didn't realize how much of a member of the family they really were.
Right.
So for everybody who's gone through that recently, I feel for you. Sorry I didn't understand before how tough that would be. I thought I had a pet. It turned out, nope, family member.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, not to be a bummer, but they're a fun part of the family, and when they're gone, it's really tough. So shout out to you if you had to lose one recently.
It gets quiet.
Yeah, definitely. The house gets real quiet. But anyway, back onto a more popular note. Man, we have gone through a lot of things so far in our podcast, and some of it's divisive, some of it's fun, some of it's serious. I was hoping today that we could have a conversation about something that definitely comes up a lot, not only on the job sites, but through a lot of the social media we get, because with you and I, we see a lot of social media posts about construction-related things, because that's the stuff we look at and we thumbs up and we go through. The preference and likability and usability of all the different power tool brands I thought maybe we'd go after today if you're interested.
Oh, that'll be great, actually.
So I
We've
know
touched on it before.
We've touched on it briefly before, and I think it was in one of our initial practice recordings. I think it made it into our trailer about me saying I'd rather be a Ryobi guy than a DeWalt guy. I'm pretty sure it was in our original ad trailer.
Right.
But I thought maybe we'd have a chat about that today. I've got some information and some facts here. I want to preface really quick before we get going. For everybody listening, pay real close attention, okay? I didn't drill down on the internet to the biggest and smallest and exact financial details and warranty options and things that come with all these tool brands. I looked up some basic facts. Don't hold my feet over the fire here, all right?
Oh, I will.
You can, right? And so actually, so can the people listening if they want to get real deep into it. I didn't do a huge deep. I wasn't doing a financial analysis of all these companies and the lasting times of their tool brands or everything.
I tried when you brought it up with me, and oh my God, I just went down a rabbit hole.
The internet, for everyone who already knows or maybe doesn't know or hasn't really realized, you can find a fact to back up whatever you want to say from some random quarter of the internet. It's impossible to find out the truth anymore.
Right.
So
there's too much information.
There's just too much information, truth and lies. So you hope that some of it is at least fairly reputable, depending on where you get it.
Right.
That's why a lot of this is going to be our opinion from time to time. But speaking of opinions, buddy, right off the bat here, there are so many tool brands out there. Some of them obviously bigger names and more popular than others, right? I'm going to go through a quick list here, and if you believe there is a tool brand that I didn't bring up that I should, please feel free to mention it. But here we go, okay? In my mind, and obviously there's a few specific ones per trade that will be more popular on a day-to-day thing. I'm talking about basic day-to-day construction tools, whether you're union, non-union, a homeowner, whatever, right?
Professional use tools.
Or even...
Not specifics, not specialty tools.
Right, not specialty tools, right? So
yeah.
I'm talking about something that you would either have on a job site, even a DIY... I'm not even drinking today. I'm getting ahead. That DIY is what I was searching for. A DIY homeowner may use, whatever. Right? So I see them as Milwaukee, DeWalt, Ryobi, Makita, and as an honorable mention, because they've been around so long, even though they're not huge now, Craftsman.
I'd also honestly throw out the Rigid.
If you're going to throw out Rigid, because I at one point had some Rigid tools in my home, then you have to bring up Bosch real quick then too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you think of any other ones I'm missing that we go through today? Can we keep it at that? Maybe a few other pop up as we go, right? But for day-to-day ones that you see on a job site or in somebody's garage.
Yeah.
Is there
no, you're good.
You missing? Okay.
For the majorities. Yeah.
Yeah, just as a common thing. I'm sure other people have some other stuff. John has a great list up here about like who owns who, and I'm seeing some really interesting stuff on this tool brand list about who actually owns what. That's going to be sort of fun as we go along.
Right?
Actually,
you see that?
We definitely got to post this list. You're going to send me that photo. We're putting this up on social media just so people can know what they're actually...
Who owns what,
and who connects to what. And there's 2 or 3 right there that...
Super surprising.
3 that are on the same list that I find really surprising, all owned by the same parent company. But anyways, we're going to get into that.
Right.
So let me start out with I'll even start myself, okay? In my garage, I'm going to let myself right out into the open here real fast, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to admit it. I'm not proud at all. It gets a super bad rep on social media. It takes a lot of heat. My construction tools for my home and my garage and my yard tools, I am a Ryobi guy.
Now, why is that? Get back. I mean,
okay, sure.
I have no judgments.
Right, sure. So real quick, I'm going to tell you why. That's part of the thing today, okay? And I know as soon as I said that, a bunch of people just rolled their eyes and shook their head and go, why am I listening to this guy? They probably
listening.
Hopefully you don't stop listening. Listen to my point, okay? I have a point. You're going to understand it. It's actually threefold. But before I say that, what do you have in your garage, buddy?
Well, we are in the construction space of my home right now, and
I ask him, and I can see what
there's a lot of yellow and black. I have DeWalt everything. I have some miscellaneous random tools that I had picked up throughout the years that are good tools. I have Makitas, I have Bosches, I have Pass Loads, I have the Steel. I mean,
Steel. Wow, it's not a chainsaw.
It is a chainsaw.
Well, no, that doesn't count.
Well, it does. Because Ryobi has a chainsaw.
True, but could we consider steel, not to get off topic here, could we consider steel more of like, if you hear the word steel, you're thinking of a chainsaw.
I'm thinking lawn and garden stuff.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not thinking drills and hammer drills and...
No.
I'm not trying to nitpick you, buddy. I'm really not.
No, it is... And I only bring that up because it's part of the homeowner's bit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
What do guys have in their garages? But I am primarily DeWalt.
Okay. So, all right, I just want to bring that. So what was your question about me? Was it why I'm a Ryobi guy?
Yeah, what made you... Because I know for a fact, because we've known each other for a while. You weren't always a Ryobi guy in your personal garage.
No, I was not always a Ryobi. That's a very recent development. So here's why I'm a Ryobi guy. And first and foremost, I know Ryobi takes a lot of heat. Okay. Is there differences between the tools as far as, let's talk about the differences. There's a price difference. There's certainly quality differences. There's warranty differences. There's how long the company's been around, how well they honor a broken tool. There's lots of factors to factor in, right?
Right.
Again, I said it's threefold, okay? I like, as a homeowner, okay, the company that I work for, they're all Milwaukee all day, except for a few specialty tools that are electrical related.
Mm-hmm.
The tools they provide us are Milwaukee tools. They work great. The quality seems good. I'm perfectly happy with them. But for the price point for me as a homeowner who is just doing basic homeowner construction, I don't need to spend the extra 30% on everything to buy Milwaukee tools for my home.
Right.
Add on to that even if everything wasn't 30% more, the availability of their basic battery package, their most common one, the 18 volt.
Yep.
Right? It's Ryobi 1 Plus is what they call it for that one, right? Yep. It's like fuel or whatever from Milwaukee. Okay? There is 300 tools that run off of that platform. And that only matters to me because I like the availability. Like the other companies have the same battery platform for lots of stuff.
Right.
There's more lawn and garden choices in that now my spouse, that we moved from a townhome a few years ago into a home where we're actually doing our lawn care and outdoor she will now help me with that when it means going to pop a battery in versus dragging a cord around the yard.
Yeah.
Now, I know she could do that with Milwaukee or DeWalt or certainly true. But if I want to add 30% more tools into my collection, now I have 30% more tools or batteries that are not Milwaukee, for example, that I now have in my garage that have availability for. That's where I'm at. I'm not driving them into the ground like would happen with the stuff I'm using every single day.
Right.
If I was running my business out of my garage and not using my company's tools, I may have a completely different attitude.
Yeah.
So, why are you a DeWalt guy?
I've been a DeWalt guy for years. I still have my very first DeWalt Sawzall that I bought 20 years ago.
Still working.
Still running.
Battery or plug?
Battery.
Okay.
And I still have some of the old school batteries for it, and they still take a charge. They still function. I think I personally leaned into DeWalt's. Now, I have never paid full price for any tool that I've bought, right? I wait. If I need a tool, I'll usually wait until it's on sale.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm waiting for sale prices. Sure.
Right. So, yeah, and I have taken, I'm kind of, I guess, maybe it's just the fact of I've known DeWalt for so long. I'm used to their platform. I'm used to how their tools function. I'm used to the reliability. I'm okay with spending the extra money to buy a tool that I probably won't have to replace for 10, 15 years.
Which is always a good thing, right?
Right. So, I don't know. We're sitting people, we are in my construction zone of my house. We're sitting right next to my
DeWalt radial arm saw stand.
On a stand and stuff.
Drills.
Is there a chance that corded saw takes a shit next week even though it's brand new? Absolutely. We take that chance with everything that we buy.
Unlikely, though.
Will I be buying a new one that's a DeWalt if that one does take a crap? Yep.
Okay, so that shows brand loyalty then. Yeah, that one takes a shit, and you're going to go back to DeWalt again.
I will.
Okay.
100%.
So we both mentioned price point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start out real quick with what I found as far as price point goes.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, I didn't get it for the extra ones that we talked about, just the original ones that I saw. I'm sure people can look up and do their own price comparison or whatever. So
sure.
I looked at 3 different parts of those big brands that I talked about. I know Craftsman doesn't fall into the big brands now, but I'll mention in a few minutes why I bring up Craftsman.
Okay? They're still a solid tool company, though.
Still a solid tool company. Some changes in the last 20 years I didn't like, but okay.
Right.
So I looked at the cost of a 5-piece starter kit with all of them. Carries the basic stuff. A drill, usually an impact, more than likely a screamer. battery
Circular saw.
Circular saw. Yeah, sorry, folks. Yeah, circular. Yeah,
Not
battery
square.
operated circular saw. Yeah, my fault for using trade related stuff. Also,
Right.
although most people probably know what I meant, right? Obviously, a battery and a couple chargers, and then the fifth tool usually varies.
Right.
I've seen basic handheld smaller hammer drill. I've seen a reciprocating tool. I've seen a few other options, but that fifth tool sort of is a little freewheeling, right?
Yep.
So a 5-piece set, I looked at the cost of a battery charger and 2 batteries as a kit. And then I looked at the total number of tools that they had available currently with their most common platform. Now, obviously, a lot of these companies, they have a 60 and 40 volt version that runs some of the bigger yard and outdoor equipment, snow blower, lawnmower, whatever, right? And then some of them even have a smaller set like Milwaukee with their small little like 12 volt fuel for light handheld things. Okay, I'm talking about their basic 18 volt, their most
Run-of-the-mill.
common tool, run of the mill pattern. Okay.
Yep.
So how many tools they had available on that particular platform? So 5-piece set from Milwaukee, $600, $599, but commonly on sale, $279.
Yep.
So not quite half the cost. That's a fairly reasonable number, right? DeWalt, $579 for a 5-piece set. Had trouble finding a sale price set for that, but let's assume they knock off a similar $150.
Can I tell you what I paid for my
Please,
recent
if you remember? Yeah.
20 volt 5-piece set? Drill, impact, sawzall, and you see it over there, a blower and a circular saw, right? I paid just under $300 for it.
Okay. I'm going to call the little blower thing a useless tool, but one of my kits came with a flashlight, so what do I know?
It's actually really good for like blowing dust off your projects.
Well,
It's
fair
fantastic.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to give you that. All right. So Ryobi 5-piece kit, $300 on sale, $199. You can still buy today a Craftsman 5-piece set.
Can you really?
Comes with the purse and everything. And I only say purse because the Craftsman one, unfortunately, looks like a purse.
Kind of a little bit. They always have.
Old school leather straps, which I know last longer, but it makes it look an awful lot like a purse.
Yep.
Right? Craftsman set $229, and Makita, surprisingly, $560.
That actually does not surprise me at all.
It only surprised me because I didn't think their market share was that great, but maybe it's better in other countries and they just picked a price point. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Okay. So that's for that. Battery and charger. So 2 batteries, 1 charger. Milwaukee $219, DeWalt $199, pretty close. Ryobi $225, 4 amp hour batteries.
Okay.
With slightly the difference in price there. The ones I looked at, the other ones were 2.5s.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So double the size just.
They do obviously offer that in the other ones, but I assumed that would have skewed the numbers in the direction I was looking for, so I tried to leave that out so I seemed a little honest. 2 batteries and a charger from Craftsman, $89. The low price point continues there.
Yep.
And Makita, $132. If you take the price out of this whole thing, because we do realize that sometimes price can equate quality and warranty and things like that.
Sometimes.
Right? I'm not saying cheaper is better or more expensive is always better. Sometimes they work out that way.
Yep.
The tool totals was the big thing, as I mentioned with me. It was one of the factors that made me go to Ryobi the way I did.
Sure.
And I should be honest right off the bat real quick here. If I hadn't been working for a company that had Milwaukee tools already, where I could use them day to day on my job, where they provided them for me, I may have went that road. It's a real possibility.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
But the fact that I'm not using mine for my day-to-day work construction that my company provides them, it was easy for me to lean in a lesser expensive manner, right?
Sure.
But the tool totals that work off that basic platform, man. Milwaukee, 200 plus. DeWalt, 200 plus. Craftsman, 100 plus, and that was a stretch.
That's pushing it,
Some
right?
of those were things like that you're not really going to ever really use. And the Makita was only 150 plus, which I know they're kind of specific. They stay away from lawn and garden a little bit, so that cuts out a little bit, right?
Yep.
Ryobi, 300 plus that run off that platform.
Okay.
A lot of that extra 100, when I dug in, is outdoor lawn and garden, stuff like that, which matters to me
As a homeowner.
As far
Yeah.
as ease of use goes. If I can have more tools that run off the same platform, the same batteries I've already bought,
Mhm.
that's good for me.
Right.
It's good for getting my wife to help with it, make things easier. Swapping out batteries, doing it makes it simpler for me. I know every other brand has that simplification of swapping out the same battery with all the tools.
Right.
But the fact that there were so many more, that was the tipping point for me.
Right.
Options off the same set of 6 batteries that I bought or whatever, that really made the difference for me.
So with the Ryobi, you haven't gotten the lawnmower though, have you?
No, I am still a big believer in 2 things. I'm a big believer in a gas lawnmower.
Yep.
And I'm a big believer in Toro.
Gotcha. So the biggest question I have is, like, a lot of their bigger equipment, from what I understand, you slap 2 of those batteries into it.
And not those batteries normally the 40 or 60 volt ones. So
No, I'm talking Ryobis.
Oh.
Because
no, even a lot of the Ryobis, you have an option for a smaller, say like a lawnmower or a smaller just push broom snowblower
Yep.
that will take the regular 18 that you burn through in a minute. But most of their quality ones that are intended to be for a lawnmower or snowblower, they take the bigger. So like I say, I'm a Toro guy for my outdoor machinery.
Sure.
I have a gas-powered lawnmower, and I most recently last year have bought myself a new battery-powered snowblower.
Okay.
Those are 2 60-volt Toro batteries,
Okay.
which
Gotcha.
the one I bought has the option to put a third in. I've been meaning to buy one before the snow really flies here, but 2 seems to get most of my driveway done if I got to wait a little while to charge them up or whatever.
Gotcha.
The only reason I went to battery with that, I was getting sick of struggling with even the electric start on my older snowblower when it was cold out.
Sure.
I wanted to take a warm battery outside, not spend 20 minutes or half an hour trying to get that fucking thing running.
Right.
I wanted the ease of knowing my snowblower was going to go the second I turned it on. That's why I went for a battery operated one with that.
And I think that's why guys are slowly switching over to electric tools for their lawn and garden, because that's the common point. Like, no, I don't want to have to deal with gas and oil and spark and cranking over a cold frickin' snowblower.
Yeah.
It's just, no.
That was basically what it was for me. Even cranking over the lawnmower. Like, so again, my wife and I came from a townhome, so we didn't do any of the lawn or snow removal. I mean, in my courtyard in the first part of my driveway, but we had a company that came and took care of that. So now that I had to worry, we inherited a piece of junk lawnmower. Mm-hmm. So, we got upset dogs in the job trailer today.
Upset dog. They're all excited.
I assume you guys can hear that. Listen.
Oh, they will be.
I inherited a piece of junk lawnmower. Sure. So when I went out to buy one, I'm like, I'm buying a quality one. I found a nice Toro. They make a good product as far as I'm concerned.
For sure.
Went out and bought a gas-powered one. Love it.
Yep.
Now, in retrospect, a couple years later, just this last fall, I wish I had bought a battery-operated lawnmower now.
Yeah.
I could use the same batteries. It's my same rationale as why I like
the
Ryobi platform for changing everything out. I may think about trying to sell it because it's still in great shape and getting a battery-powered one. But I will say there's drawbacks.
Yeah.
You could obviously just throw more gas into a gas-powered machine, right?
Yep.
If there was a couple of heavy snows last year where I got through 3/4 of my driveway on 2 batteries, and I don't have a small driveway and I don't have a gigantic driveway, where I had to charge up, wait a couple hours, go back out, finish it off.
Right.
Now, did I learn my lesson later on and just push the last little bit with a shovel to make my life over or like the job over?
Right.
Sure, I did.
Yeah.
But now, again, I have the availability. I could get one more battery from Toro at like $400 a battery.
Yeah.
And have
Yeah,
3 in there and be able to take care of it in one shot. I'm probably going to look at investing in that.
Yep.
But yeah, so obviously there's lots of brands, buddy, and it's all about choice and popularity. It seems to me like a real Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Toyota thing.
It really is. And I get a kick out of it because everybody's so split on everything. They're just tools, right?
It's a tool to get the job done.
Right. Just because I like buying DeWalt's because I am brand loyal, because I know how they all function. I know their worth and their lasting and their performance. Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? I don't only have DeWalt. I'm actually looking at my Bosch hammer drill over there right now.
I did notice your Bosch hammer drill over there earlier.
I have a Makita hammer drill sitting right on the other side of the wall. Like, it just doesn't matter. Tools are tools. Get what you can afford that gets your job done. And, you know, I had 2 radial arm saws when I bought this one.
Seems excessive.
I had 2 of them, and I just didn't like how they cut. They weren't cutting square. I knew that one was going to. That's why I bought it.
Yeah, for some things, especially if it comes down to precision. So yeah, if you're talking about a tool that precision matters, your saws, certainly buy something that you're comfortable with the quality of what you get out of it.
Right.
Okay. Like my radial arm saw, you saw, I honestly, at the top of my head, I don't even remember what the brand is that I bought. I got it at Menards. It's green and black. I don't even know what their brand is that I got. It works perfectly great for me.
I know what it is. I can't remember the name.
Yeah. There's somebody out there screaming it right now. Oh, it's this. I mean,
Yeah.
at the time,
Right.
I went out and bought one for the project that I needed. Still works great. Keep using it. Like, yeah, you're going to have a mix of things. And as I said, I originally had some rigid hand tools, power tools, battery tools when I was first a homeowner because they were a reasonable price point. And I got a few things in a row, and it was enough to do what I
you
needed to do. Right?
Yep. And that's what it amounts to.
Yeah. Now, I will say, shout out to Ryobi. When I was in trying to make my decisions, because I knew I was going to be switching from rigid, that's one thing that rigid doesn't have, and it's why rigid didn't make my list.
Yeah.
Their availability of tools, battery-powered tools, is pretty limited compared to the other companies.
They're definitely a specialty company.
Yeah.
They're definitely a specialty tool company.
Yeah, they have the basics because they want to be in the market, so to speak.
Yep.
But they're certainly not in the variety that some of the bigger names have gotten themselves into.
Right.
They're really not.
No.
So much so that even though I know some of these companies are actually owned, as we said, John's got a great image up here. They're owned by bigger parent companies that sort of all own. So just as an example, read out the bottom corner, the company that's the master company, TTI there.
Mm-hmm.
Read out a few of the things that are in that one group that are owned by all the same company.
Well, and I'm going to read out the ones that everybody's going to catch.
Right.
Because there's some on there that I don't even know.
A few of them seem a little,
Right. So TTI is a Chinese-based company.
Yep.
They're owned in China. They own, and they're big players. TTI is a huge player when it comes to power tools and hand tools. So they actually own Milwaukee, Rigid, Hoover, Ryobi, Dirt Devil, and several more that people aren't really going to be. I guess people know Hart. I have seen Hart's tools and stuff like that.
I've seen Empire Tools as a cheap version that you see at some of the smaller places like Target and Walmart and things like that.
Right.
And obviously, I think Oric is a vacuum company.
Is Oric a vacuum company? I don't even know who Vax is.
I don't know who Vax is, no, but I think Oric might be like a vacuum company.
Gotcha.
So
Well, just
yeah,
like Hoover.
Just like Hoover, right? So you see there, like just that one company, Milwaukee, Rigid, Ryobi, all there, boom, right away.
Right.
All really owned by the same parent company.
Same parent company. They're sold and made by the same outfit.
Now,
But yeah.
certainly different manufacturing facilities and things like that, right?
Yep.
But all under the same ownership, same standards, same all that. So,
Right.
do you? Obviously, you're a pro DeWalt guy.
Yep.
Do you think that if someone put you on the spot, you're going to say that DeWalt, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, is the best tool brand out there? Can you say that honestly with everybody listening?
No, I can't because I would like to see DeWalt do some things a little differently.
How so?
One, I will say, honestly, TTI owns Milwaukee, but Milwaukee themselves, I would actually put them over DeWalt as far as the best tool company out there. I'd actually put Milwaukee at the top of my list.
Also, not 100%, but a company that started in America.
Right.
Which a few of these are. I'm also pro, not even America, I'm pro North America.
Right.
If it's a Canadian company, I'm also pro Canadian company. But go ahead, buddy.
Right. I would actually put them at the top of my list because what Milwaukee's been doing recently, they're kind of leaving everybody in the dust as far as professional grade tools.
Certainly, it seems to be that way.
A homeowner can buy a professional grade tool for not that much, right? Just like DeWalt's. Yes, DeWalt's are probably a little cheaper, and you're still buying a professional grade tool with the DeWalt. But what Milwaukee and I think DeWalt needs to catch up on and catch in real quick and they better be scrambling here fast, is Milwaukee's R&D department. For the tools that they've been able to pump out and create and build recently for professionals themselves is bar none outstanding. All of the stuff that we see in our trades is, I mean, Milwaukee takes the cake.
Within, well, what, it's the 6th today? A month ago, I just traded back in some tools that the local Milwaukee rep, one of the local Milwaukee reps, gave me some electrical specific tools to take out into the field for a couple of months and give a try. I just went through that myself. They asked for feedback, some new ideas, some slight changes. They certainly seem to be trying to be on the cutting edge.
Yep.
I will say shout out to Milwaukee for letting me do that. I hope I gave some good feedback. I hope they learned a couple things. I hope I learned a couple things.
Right.
It wasn't all winners, but that's why you send the new tools out with professionals to get adequate
That's
feedback,
the point.
right? And
Right.
I've said everything I can say. I had to sign an NDA and everything, right? So nothing specific, but I appreciated the opportunity, and I hope they took the feedback to heart. And most of it seemed great, and I agree with what you're saying. They are certainly trying, it seems, to work with professionals to have the best options out there for what really matters to us day to day.
Yeah.
So
Now, they're not going to be cheap. Those specialty tools, no matter what line, no matter who makes them, they're not going to be cheap because they're going to have a lower profit margin. They're going to have a lower sales scale, right? They're only going to sell one of these to every 10 people, right? They're not having almost every shop buy all Milwaukee tools. I know as our shop goes, we carry and guys use both. We have guys that are Milwaukee and guys that have DeWalt stuff. Our shop doesn't care. Just like, hey, here's your tools, right?
yeah, work with what works for you.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
That's a good attitude. Something interesting, just off topic real fast. I promise I'm not going to harp about Ryobi, but I found one interesting fact as I was researching this one that I thought showed the longevity of Ryobi.
Sure.
Okay? So originally Ryobi called themselves what they called a device company. Now they've since moved into power tools mostly, but they have some other options, right? But originally they made devices to make your day-to-day life easier. It used to be some washing machines and some items for around the kitchen and the home.
Okay. That's fair.
Ryobi was founded in 1943, and it's amazing that that company is still around because they were founded in the city of Hiroshima, Japan. In 1943, for those of you who don't know your history real well, that city had a rough couple years after that.
Yeah. Wow.
And another rough couple years after that. So that could have been something that if that was a small organization, that might have just, I'm not trying to be funny, that company might have just went away like a lot of things did in Hiroshima at that time, right? So I just found that kind of interesting when I was looking this up. Like they survived a real disaster.
Right.
So
that's impressive.
I thought so too. I mean, if that was 2 or 3 people that own that company, those 2 or 3 people might not have been there after, let's say, 1945.
If I'm going to assume, just because I want to chase this rabbit hole,
yeah, please.
It's kind of like chasing dopamine for me here real quick. Is there a chance that Ryobi started out as a military company?
I don't.
If they were founded at that time of global history?
It certainly could be that. It could also be just the fact that there was a financial and business boom around the war in almost any industry, even if you weren't feeding that.
Right.
It pushed so many other industries to pop up just because they had the need for more whatever, even if it wasn't
more everything.
Even if it wasn't more
Right.
war related. So that is certainly something. Now, as far as that goes, buddy, I want to give an honorable mention real quick. If you are out there and you are listening to this and you live in the United States, I don't know if it's as big in Canada now, but I think it might be. Husky. Husky's going to get an honorable mention for me because I don't know anybody who doesn't at least have a couple Husky tools kicking around, or at least a tool bag. A Husky is a real good quality entry-level tool bag if you're in any trade. I see maybe you got knee pads, maybe you got something, but I mean,
Yeah, I got a hammer over there.
Right, yeah. Answer yourself honestly if you're listening. You probably got a Husky tool or two that you bought in a pinch or a while ago that still works
Yeah.
because they're fairly good quality, right?
Yeah, no, Husky's solid. My whole tool chest upstairs is brand new. It's Husky. You know, I mean,
Here, perfect example,
great
right?
quality
Yeah,
for what they do and what they sell. They are definitely,
Right.
they're definitely up there.
So as an example, I mean, percentage-wise, like how much more do you think a Milwaukee toolbox the same size would have cost?
Oh God, at least another 30, 40, 50%.
Right.
At
Anyways.
least. Yeah.
Right. Anyways. Now, would they be slightly different quality? I'm not going to say better or worse. Yeah, probably.
You know, I have a real problem with that's the problem that I'm going to pick on Milwaukee. The problem I got with their pack out system. Like, look,
I was going to bring that up.
look, dude, why in the fuck does that thing have to be that high priced? It ain't that special. Like, is it convenient? I'm sure, but damn,
Right.
damn, not an average guy cannot afford or justify the cost of that when I can put all of my tools in a bag and carry them onto the job.
Look, like you say, is it a convenient storage system? Which they all kind of have that now, right?
Right. DeWalt's
Ryobi's
got the
one,
stack
DeWalt
it.
ones, yeah, right. Yeah, they all got sort
Right.
of their thing with slightly different variations, right?
Right.
It does seem that the pack out kit is pricey.
It
I've
it
looked
just
at it.
looks a little excessive.
Yeah, like it's so excessive that a couple times I thought about it myself because again, Ryobi, I'm a Ryobi guy at home, right? But I mean, if I was going to get a pack out to use for work, which we carry lots of parts like all the trades do, right?
Right.
I would consider buying a Milwaukee one because it looks reasonably well made and convenient and all that, right?
Yeah, very much so.
But every time, and this has happened to me twice now, I shouldn't say every time. Twice I have gone to one of the stores, Store X, right? And saw, oh man, they've got the stack. They got the big, the mid, the little, and it's all stacked up. And they got this on sale, $2.99. I couldn't reach for my wallet fast enough. And then I go, whoa, hold on a sec. That doesn't sound right. And find out that's just the little one on top.
Yeah.
The thing is $1,000. Get the flying fuck out of here. Like,
Right. And I understand it's like the new, and they've probably got a lot of marketing into it.
Right.
People are still buying them heavy. Stop, please. God, they're too expensive.
Yeah. If you drop, you can't, maybe you can. Okay, listen, maybe the profit point on that after everything is only 10%.
Right.
Right? Maybe that's true.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe your plastics and your construction and what you pay your employees at the factories, maybe that stuff does all factor into that. Maybe that is the price point for that. But holy God, Milwaukee, cool your jets a little.
Just a touch.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
$1,000.
$1,000.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, I will give them credit. Probably the other companies did this because I admittedly, I haven't looked at the other ones because the pack out is sort of right now the in your head, the brand that's the tool rolling kit, right?
They got great marketing.
Right, they get great marketing, right? Ryobi got one, DeWalt got one. Lots of companies got them, right? Husky's got a set.
Yep.
I'm not saying they're not out there, but as far as marketing goes, man, you see pack out a lot. As a gift from the rep, after I was to look at a few tools for them, the rep was nice enough to give me a nice new pack out Milwaukee coffee cup. The insulated.
The ones that snap into the
That's-
pack out.
It snaps into the top of the pack out, so when you're rolling in, it doesn't tip over. I got to admit, nice touch.
That is kind of handy.
Nice.
I've lost a coffee cup or two.
Yeah. And you don't have to, as long as it's closed up, right? Click it into the top of the whole pack out,
Yep.
however big it is. Doesn't matter if it tips down. You click it in, you roll in. There's no drop in your cup. It was a real. And again, I don't own a pack out, but if I were to, that's a
Right.
pretty nice touch. They thought it out good.
Yeah. And that's why I say the plus and minuses with Milwaukee is they are definitely kind of leading the game as far as new developments in R&D and stuff like that. And they are really kind of like they're leaning into what guys and gals want, right, out in the fields.
What could be convenient.
Right. Another company that does that that we haven't even talked about, they actually make tools and stuff specifically for us as electricians, is Racketeer.
Yeah, certainly they have a lot of options.
Right.
Yeah.
Racketeer is actually, a lot of their stuff is from the electrical industry, from the guys that do our job.
Right.
It's, they do a very good job of that. But I mean, Milwaukee, look, you got good tools, you got great tools. Fuck off with your pack outs.
Yeah. Like
I just can't.
dial the whole thing back a little bit. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
I'm going to be sticking to my bags for a couple, like, for a while.
And I think what it is like, let's me, I'm going to stick to my bags for a while. If the price is going to be that high to roll that stuff in and out, right? Like if my company wants to buy me one, fantastic. But I mean, my own money.
But I can't go to my company and ask for that.
It's a pretty tough sell, right?
Like, okay, you're going to buy me a pack out and I'm going to throw all my DeWalt tools.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Some companies are a little freewheeling, but there's not a ton of, I wouldn't think, trade companies out there who are willing to buy a bunch of their employees 1,000. I mean, 10 people. I mean, and I'm sure, listen, like, no offense to Milwaukee. Like I said, I like Milwaukee tools. It's what I use day to day for my company. Like, they're great quality. They work very well. They're reliable. The batteries seem to last fantastic. Like, I'm not anti-Milwaukee.
Right.
But the price point for a regular person on some of the extras like that,
Right.
I don't know, man.
Well, and I think that's probably where I have a problem with it, because they're selling it as a toolbox for everybody, right? Not just trade professionals. They're selling it to homeowners. I'm like, guys, seriously? Like, my very large toolbox that I have, a Husky up in my garage, that has nice soft closed drawers. They have LED lights in it, a freaking power strips inside to plug all my batteries in.
Roll it around wherever you need in the garage, right?
Big enough wheels, I can roll that heavy damn thing fully loaded without a problem. I won't even strain a muscle doing it. It's less than a tiny little pack out set.
Yep.
That was less than $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It is the problem of why I even brought up any of the other brands here, right?
Right.
I mean, we saw based on just the quick, like, batteries and 5 toolkit or whatever. DeWalt's not cheap either.
They're not.
But
no.
I mean, those extras, popular or not, those extras that's going to discourage a lot of people.
Right.
Now, a lot of people are buying that because I hate to use the word trendy. Trendy's wrong, but you're going to understand what I'm getting at. Having a pack out is the thing now. I got a Milwaukee pack out. It's so convenient. Look, like,
right.
You can set it up all nice and packed out, roll it into the truck, the van, roll it off. When you get home, you can hang them on the wall. They got fancy hangers. You get everything up. Again, though,
right.
Every other major brand has the exact same thing right now. And the number that I had is a vague number. I based it on a few different options that I looked at.
Right.
It's about 30% in the difference, 20, 30%.
Right.
And as regular prices. You can still get great sales, obviously. You keep your eye open for shit like that. But what do you think is... Because as far as the voltage option goes, that don't matter to most people.
No.
You know what I mean? If you had a bunch of bigger outdoor equipment, like we saw, chainsaw, snowblower, big leaf blower, big trimmer, whatever, right?
Right.
Well, then you're going to get the big 40, 60 volt kits because they're going to give you more power and they're going to last longer. But that's professional grade stuff for most people.
Right.
Most people don't need that. Like my 18 volt leaf blower works just fine. My hedge trimmer works just fine. Like I'm not doing it 8 hours a day. Like I get the differences there, right? But I mean, most people are using that generic middle of the road volt. Is there any benefit to a company like Milwaukee that has the smaller?
I think everybody in their own house and every trade, I don't think it doesn't matter. I think you should at least have one of these smaller platform drills.
Just for easy use.
Just for, because goddamn, an 18 volt battery, it doesn't matter who you buy. They're not light.
No, and I got to admit, in the service department, I got a kit, I guess about a year ago now. It's all the smaller, lighter. Do you know what I mean? It's just easier. I mean, once in a while, I still got to go grab a proper drill.
Yep.
Proper saw, all that stuff. But I mean, for my day to day, why would I carry a 4-pound drill around in my bag when a 12-ounce one does just fine?
Yeah.
For 99% of stuff I do, like
I have a 12-ounce or 12 ounce. I have a 12 volt DeWalt here at home. I don't use any of the smaller stuff at work. I have it. I very rarely use it, but I think in some cases you definitely need to have it. And I will grab, specifically speaking, just for our trade, I'll use the 12 volt to trim out devices and stuff all day long.
Oh yeah, for me, it's taking covers off, troubleshooting. Yeah, that's what I mean. That one's just that's a battery operated screwdriver, and that's handy for us. But I mean, no, if you're really doing something like you're drilling holes or getting after it, like you get the full size one out for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. But again, beyond that, do you see on the job sites? I mean, it's tough not to be a little snowblind about this because we're normally on job sites with people in our same company.
Right.
It seems to me, though, that Milwaukee got the leading edge at most job sites, buddy. I see a lot of red and black.
There is a lot of red and black, and I think Milwaukee's definitely leaned into the professional side of things when it comes to the trades. I think if there's any two that are on there, number one, number two, it's always Milwaukee and DeWalt. And you know, it's a hard position to take. I see more drills being Milwaukee. I see more saws on the job site being DeWalt. Trim carpenters, finish carpenters, stuff like that are definitely using DeWalt saws more that I see.
Hardwired.
Even the battery ones.
Even the battery ones.
Even
really?
the 20-volt DeWalts. Yep.
Okay.
I'm seeing more and more and more of those because they're light and mobile. They can kind of just scoot them around.
They are mobile. And I mean, if you got an even 2 or you got a 4-pack or 6-pack charger or batteries going all the time, I mean, if you burn one up, it's another battery right over there. All charged up, ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
And we often forget because we, as electricians, we're into the job sites very often before the power is in because we're the motherfuckers getting it in there.
Right.
Having the battery operated tools when there's not, whether it's even having power there that's not temporary, or you're away from the building, or it's inconvenient. Battery tools are super convenient, man. Like,
dude, I don't see very many corded tools anymore whatsoever. I mean, honestly, who's using them?
I see framers.
Even those guys. What's the only real corded tool they have is an air compressor.
Saw, again, you might be seeing battery operated saws. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of guys still using corded saws.
I guess on wood, yeah. No, when they're building high rises, because we do a lot of high rise and stuff like that, the carpenters are definitely the framers.
Right.
They're definitely using corded saws because I can only imagine how many batteries they go through.
And the iron workers.
Yeah.
So what I mean,
Grinders.
those guys are plugging that stuff in. They're getting full power all the time. They don't have time to be changing the battery out every 6 seconds. Like,
you know, I was the job site I'm on. There was a couple of gentlemen that came in and they did the, I guess their protector for docks, their little protector pieces that cover up the door rails, overhead door rails. And the gentleman was hauling around a regular hammer drill, putting anchors in, attaching them, and he's got a couple of cords. And I'm like, dude, I've got an extra battery powered hammer drill over here that will. It's just like your partner's. You can just use it. He's like, no, I got the cords already. I didn't have the heart to tell him, be like, hey, dude, the tools don't like being ran off of 200 feet of cord. Everybody stop that, please, for the love of God. Like 200 feet on a 14 gauge cord, like come as an electrician, not okay.
it's not going to stop people from doing it.
It's not going to.
That's been a problem forever.
Yeah. You will burn up a drill. You will burn up a saw. 200 foot of cord.
Yeah.
Shit doesn't get the voltage that it needs. But
not to mention, look at the size of your cords. Not all extension cords are created equal. Not all of them are meant to be used outside.
Right.
Look at your extension cord. It should be a color-coded thing like with our wires, but it's not.
It should be.
You should know.
Right.
So I'd certainly see a lot of Milwaukee. You do see some DeWalt kicking around. I will say one thing. I might have saw 3 Ryobi hand tools power tools on a job.
Yeah, and they're probably laughed off the job as soon as they unpacked them.
Right. See, and that's the thing.
Get the fuck out of here.
I admitted right off the bat, as a homeowner, my homeowner tools are Ryobi. I'm not proud at all. And I mean, I laugh because you make decisions, and then as time goes on, you realize it's not the popular consensus. And forgive me for some of my words I'm going to use in the next minute. I don't mean any of it. I'm just talking about what's out there. I mean, a lot of the videos and posts and memes about Ryobi are suggesting that maybe I'm less of a man than I should be.
Maybe just a little bit.
Because I use Ryobi tools. I mean, I can think of a couple specifically that are real funny.
Well, they're saying the same thing about DeWalt's.
Well, that's always true. And that brings me back to it's a Ford, Dodge, Chevy thing.
It really is.
I think it's because the majority of, and people are real proud of themselves, I notice when they got a garage full of Milwaukee tools.
Oh God.
They're always organized real nice, and they're out in the open. They're
clean.
They're clean. Oh yeah, they're always washed. Like, that strikes me like it's just all about when you got a bag on another brand. Like,
Yep.
and Ryobi certainly seems to be taking the heat right now.
I think Ryobi can be a How do you feel Ryobi is on a professional level?
See, here's what I don't know. Okay, so I am very nearing the end, as I've mentioned, of kitchen remodel. It's a small kitchen. It's not gigantic or anything. Galley kitchen, 15 feet long or 20 feet long or whatever, right? I'm not living in a gigantic house, folks. I live within my means. They have worked perfectly good for me to do a kitchen remodel on my own. The only issue I've had, and I'll be honest, my circular saw doesn't seem to cut with the power and efficiency that I know I get out of the Milwaukee one I use day to day on the job.
Sure.
I did notice a few times I was cutting with that it lagged a bit.
Yeah.
If I had any comparison, I can say that tool from Milwaukee is superior. But I mean, everything else worked just fine for me. Now, is the quality there day to day? If I was doing construction with those tools every single day on the job, will they last the same? I have no idea at all.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. I don't know the comparison. I would assume that they're built to a similar standard, but then it brings back the question of, is Milwaukee more expensive because they use better quality material, better manufacturing process? I'm sure that's what they're touting.
Right.
But is that really the case?
Is it, or is it just Nike and Under Armour fight?
That's the question of the day, right? Is there really quality difference, or is this a cultural thing you believe because it's the most popular brand? Because Milwaukee hasn't even been around longer than, I mean, they're certainly an old company, right? But I think the 60s, I looked it up. I can check it. I've got it real handy here.
Do you?
Yeah. There's many of these other companies. Bosch, for example. Bosch is a German company that's been around forever.
Since 1915?
Yeah, it was real early when I looked it up, yeah. Let me see here, though. Yeah, I definitely had what it was for Milwaukee. Give me a sec here. But I do, if you put me on the spot and just said, hey, what do you actually think? I would believe that Milwaukee tools on a professional day-to-day level are probably going to be better than the Ryobis.
Sure.
I'm willing to admit that that's probably the case. But again, it's only because that's what I've used on the job for so long. So it's a case where it's, no, I lied to you. Milwaukee, 1918. Started off as a different company, became the actual company it is in the 24, and they were a supplier to the U.S. Navy. So, okay.
I got 1924.
Okay, so yeah, let's call it a wash. That's pretty early still. Yeah. Because I know they were the first company to manufacture hammer drills.
Bosch, 1886.
Okay, so yeah, I knew they were way back when.
Way back there.
But this is something we have to point out here, to be honest with you folks. Just because a company is that old, Bosch might have been making ice cream back then.
Yeah, you never really know, right?
A lot of these companies will say, yeah, listen, we've been in business since 1775. Yeah, but when you were in 1775, you were making chew tobacco.
Yeah.
And now you're
or pixie sticks.
Right, yeah. Some of these companies that got bought out and changed. You could have been doing something totally different. Now, I do know that Bosch has been a tool and die manufacturing company since forever. So they probably were doing that, right?
Right.
Yeah, but what do you do? So here's the question of the day, buddy.
Yep.
Unpopular opinion.
The unpopular opinion is a question?
Yeah, the unpopular opinion is a question. I'm gonna
double up.
I'm gonna make you give me your unpopular opinion here, because it's going to be unpopular to you and possibly to people listening.
Okay.
I've been thinking about this one for a minute.
Okay.
Tomorrow, they close up shop at Milwaukee and DeWalt.
Mm-hmm.
They recall all their tools. It's like one of these cell phone camera or battery exploding deals. Okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
They found a defect in all the batteries from the last 10 years from both DeWalt and Milwaukee. They recall everything. You got to bring them in. They're exploding. They're killing babies. Okay.
Okay.
Where are you going, buddy? Now it could be.
I'm probably going Bosch.
You're probably going Bosch.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go Bosch.
What are you going to do for all your lawn and garden equipment? You're going to buy all that stuff individually, keep using gas?
I'm going to keep using gas. I like my gas lawn equipment.
I like my gas lawnmower.
Now, I do have a DeWalt electric trimmer, a weed eater. But I'll probably go to gas. I'll probably actually change that out for a steel.
You can get your lawn and garden stuff from Steel. That's certainly for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're going to go to Bosch.
I'll probably go to Bosch for my tools.
In your head, that company has been around long enough. You're familiar with it enough that you'd feel comfortable going to Bosch.
Yeah, I'd have to pay more.
Certainly.
They're generally higher priced. But yeah, I'd probably go to Bosch.
Now, I know we've been talking about price a bit here, folks. Let me just be clear. Price isn't the issue. Okay.
Price is not the issue.
Is it going to be a factor for some people? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it was a factor for me because I could get a few more tools for my home kit for something I considered to be still quality enough to be a home kit for me. Right. If I cared about price, I would go to one of the 2 home improvement aisles at Walmart and buy one of the kits. Cobalts? What are they?
Cobalts or Black & Decker.
Whatever the piece of shit one is
Right.
at Fun, I would go there.
Yep.
If I cared about price.
Right.
And burn one up, hanging a picture probably. Fuck knows how good those things are.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I've mentioned before when I first emigrated to the States and got married, one of the wedding gifts my wife and I got was specifically for me was a Black & Decker multi...
Fold open.
We
got a
talking
little
crappy little drill with
Yep.
a plug-in, like plug charger, little terrible hammer. Like, yeah, I've been down that road.
I'm willing to bet I still have mine that I got that was just like that.
I only know I don't have mine anymore because it got tossed in the move 3 years ago, but it was kicking around my garage for a few years up until then. So, yeah, if price mattered, we'd all just go buy pieces of junk, right?
Right.
Go to yard sales and have a mismatch of everything.
Yeah, pawn shops, yard sales.
Yeah,
you
pawn
name
shops. Oh my God, the amount of tools in pawn shops. So speaking of which,
I've gotten a lot of my stuff from there.
from pawn shops?
Yeah.
Aren't you worried they're stolen, buddy?
No.
Where do you think all these people, off on a side topic, that you're seeing on these videos walking into the Home Depot, running out with hundreds and hundreds of dollars of stuff because they can't stop them now? Where do you think they're selling that stuff?
Oh, definitely. But the problem is if I buy it from a pawn shop, I'm not buying stolen equipment. The pawn shop bought the stolen equipment. I won't be in trouble. They'll tell me to turn it over.
Wow, way to justify that to yourself, buddy.
Right?
I didn't make the crack. I just smoked it, Your Honor. I'm not the manufacturer here. Like, I'm an innocent bystander of this whole process.
Hey, that's how it works.
I love when somebody can delude themselves, folks. I do it to myself all the time.
Hey, we all do.
Well, that's for sure. All right. So, I mean, that makes sense. If they're the most, yeah. If you feel like you'd go with Bosch, I mean, I'm going to stick with Ryobi. I've already said. I'm willing to take all the heat anybody want to send. I know how you guys all feel about it, but think about it in the grand scheme of things. I don't have to provide my own tools for my day-to-day real construction job. Right. And if they do fine for me on the weekends and stuff at home doing little projects, great. Yep. The investment for me, I will find out within the next few years. Let's say that.
Probably
5 years, right? So I had a basic kit and batteries from Rigid.
Yep.
When I lived in the townhome, okay? Did fine at the time. Yep. The batteries didn't hold their charge. I didn't quite like the quality, even though I know it's just another Home Depot Berry project, right? But things are obviously built in different places to different quality standards. Right. I got lucky. And I should have mentioned this when you brought up Ryobi, because I guess this does factor in a little bit, okay? I was at the Home Depot looking for what I was going to get for Rigid tools and realized, oh, they don't have so many other options.
No, they don't.
They really don't. To run off, it's a real basic amount. Their hand tools are just so they can say they had that. As we talked, Rigid is kind of a specialty for other things, right? Yep. Pipe press, electrical stuff, plumbing stuff, welding stuff, right? They're a different deal. I happened to catch the rep from Ryobi in there. I was walking up and down the Milwaukee aisle.
Oh, fantastic.
I walked up and down the Ryobi. The guy asked me at the time, he's like, oh, hey, what are you looking for today? And I said, I'm looking to change tool brands, and I'm just checking it all out. And I didn't notice the Ryobi on his shirt until he said that. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a rep. He said, what are you running now? And I said, Rigid. He's like, oh, they're kind of made by the same company, but this is a slightly better quality, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to sell me, right?
Right.
He said, what do you have now? And I said, I got a basic kit. I got a drill and an impact and a circular saw and a reciprocating tool and a couple batteries and a charger. He's like, all right, obviously you don't have it with you. I'm like, no, I didn't bring it with me. It's sitting at home or whatever. He's like, how far is home? 15 minutes. He said, well, I'm going to be here for an hour. If you go home and get all that and bring it back, I'll replace all that with a Ryobi set for $99 and give you a coupon for another $50 on your next tool option. How do you feel about that?
I'll be right back.
I went home immediately and drove back. That is part of the antithesis of me becoming a Ryobi guy. Mm-hmm. I got a full kit thrown at me for pennies, basically.
Right.
Here, just bring your old ones in and trade them in. Right. Old phone for new phone. Bring your old phone in and we'll give you a brand new iPhone for $50 or whatever.
Right.
I got one of those deals. I got lucky. I found out from the management at the particular Home Depot I went to, hey, when does your Ryobi rep usually come in? I went back and asked like a week later. Normally every Saturday he's here for 4 or 5 hours during the morning to early afternoon. Oh, is it always the same person? No, we've got 2 or 3 or whatever. I walked back in with some other batteries from other like old crappy ones that I had from something else. Yeah. A couple weeks later with them in my hand, pretending like I was shopping around, scammed the Ryobi rep and he gave me a set of batteries and another charger, boy. I was pretty proud of myself when I came home. Got those ones for nothing.
That's funny.
Yeah, trade. Yeah. I was thinking about trading up brands, but I was looking at batteries. Yeah. So I got another rep, which is probably very smart of the reps of the companies.
Yep.
Get the old tools out of circulation, get theirs in. And it worked on me as much as I was already in, because even if I hadn't been committed after that windfall, I only spent $99 and I got another $50 coupon for the next one. Like, it cost me $50.
Right.
I could have turned around, gave them to somebody, sold them on Marketplace, whatever.
Right.
It didn't commit me to doing it. But once I had it in my hand and then I got to see the other options are out there, it was a pretty easy sell for me.
For sure. And I think probably my history with DeWalt started my very first gig as an electrician. I had to buy my own power tools.
Yeah, I remember you saying that one time, yeah.
So, and
non-union folks.
And I had to supply my own drill, my own Sawzall, stuff like that. And I went with DeWalt because at that time, 20 years ago, DeWalt was the Milwaukee now.
Oh, yeah.
Milwaukee was around, but DeWalt was just kicking their ass.
Yeah, for a while they were really ahead of the game there. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, I got a full set. I even got a radio, one of the old school radios that has the big roll cage on it. You can kick around. And
oh yes, I remember those.
It's still up in my garage. Yeah. It still works, along with the original Sawzall. I don't have the drill because the drill burnt up. But
again, though, tools aren't going to last forever.
Nope.
I've burned every brand I've ever used.
Yep.
I've burned something up. Right?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
When we're using them professionally, they will go bad.
Oh, for
they
sure.
will tank,
right?
Because they're dirty and they're dusty. They're rolling around. We're, covered with.
You drop them eventually.
Drop them. You're putting them under high torque loads.
Right. And I do realize, forgive me, man, to step on you. I didn't finish my point. I got off on a kind of half tangent there. The point of I don't know how long and what the quality is going to be of the Ryobi compared to the Milwaukee.
Oh, sure.
Because I've only had them for a couple of years, right? 2 or 3 years for almost everything. Some of it less than that.
Yep. Recently
bought a new jigsaw on Black Friday because it was a smoking deal, right? Like, will they last? I'm not sure. I sure hope they do.
I think your real test on those are going to end up being when you do your basement.
I believe that's true because that's going to be a lot more framing, a lot more actual construction with the tools. I think so. Yeah, when I was doing the kitchen, obviously you're only, you're screwing a few cabinets up, you're putting some doors on. I didn't do much with the flooring. It's fairly minimal, right? I mean, I did a couple of subtle framing adjustments, but you saw it. It was pretty limited stuff.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. I think my downstairs, my basement remodel, which is a full frame up restoration, folks, it's going to be a shit show. You're right. That'll probably be the actual crutch of whether they work for that or not. So, yeah, which maybe we come back to at some point. Although I think just finishing up my kitchen here shortly, I'm going to take a little home renovation break for a while.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm jumping right on that right away. I need a shed and a fixed up upstairs bathroom and some sort of man hangout before that. So,
right.
Is there anything else as far as the tool brand goes that you can think is an important point that I missed, buddy?
Nah, I think just get the tools that you want, and you know what? You're going to find out if they're good or not. Because you're going to buy a high-end tool and it's going to take a shit. You're going to buy a cheap tool and it's going to work great. it just doesn't, at the end of the day, for the homeowners, it doesn't matter. Us trade professionals, that it does frankly matter. Don't buy cheap tools if you're a trade professional. If you're coming into the trades, getting into the trades, don't cheap out on tools. They will fuck you if you cheap out on tools.
Right, especially if you're buying your own tools.
Yep.
Now, I will say, talk to your company that you work for, union or not, it doesn't matter. Find out what their replacement policy is, because sometimes you can buy a reasonable set of tools, hand tools, especially as an apprentice or a new employee, and maybe when they take a shit, they get replaced with something slightly better. But talk to your company, figure out. But he's right. Buying cheap tools don't do you no favors in the long run, whether you're a homeowner or construction professional or not.
Right.
Yeah, it's worth investing sometimes in a better quality product. But at the end of the day, if you're comfortable with the performance of what you bought and they seem to last for your needs, good on you.
Yep.
Yes, I know you're going to question my sexuality because I own a Ryobi, which was the joke I was negligent to make earlier. I notice a lot of the memes and videos are, I said manhood, but a lot of them are questioning that sort of thing. Not that has anything to do with professionalism,
but to keep it on trade point, it's just like buying a pair of boots. Your boots are tools. Make them good,
right?
Because they're going to fuck you over if they don't. And if you don't buy good tools for your trade, for your professional, like, those are what's making you money.
Right.
Keep them good. Take the extra digger. I know it may cost a lot. You may swallow a nut every now and then because, it's hard to cough up that kind of price. But do it anyway. I mean, you'll make it in spades with good tools.
What a great sum up, man. And since my question to you about unpopular opinion didn't feel like it carried the weight they normally do, I'm going to venture one more real quick here.
Oh, do it, man.
If you're one of the people out there, who are many people out there, who get down on another tool brand, especially if you're a Milwaukee person, maybe, just maybe, you're trying to justify all the extra money you spent so you could be a Milwaukee guy, and maybe, just maybe, why don't you roll those things up, that tool bag, and cram it somewhere? Because the other tool brands seem to be working just fine, and I think you're a little mad at yourself for spending more money than you maybe needed to.
Right.
You bought the popular tool, you needed the name brand transformer. Maybe. Just look at yourself in the mirror, and if you can honestly say you bought those because they're the best possible thing for you, good on you. But I think that maybe you're a bit of a hater sometimes, because again, I do take a lot of heat about the Ryobi things. And I'm fine. Right. I take it from friends, I take it from coworkers, I take it from everybody. Yep. What do you think, John? Is that going to sum it up for us here today, buddy?
I think you summed it up pretty well, man. Why don't you let everybody know where they can actually hit us up at?
For sure. So give us your opinion on this. I know, I expect to take a lot of heat about this. Reach out, so you can DM us on Instagram at ISawPodcast. You can definitely check out our website, and we encourage you to do so, isawpodcast.com. And please send us feedback on the email, isawpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about this or any of the other subjects that we've talked about. I'd like to hear all the rants from people about this one, because it's a real passionate thing when you get some people together. Like I said a couple times already, it's a Ford, Chevy, Dodge thing. Yep. People are real passionate and specific about their tools. I'm not crazy passionate about Ryobi, but it works good for me. But tell me all the terrible things you think about me for being a Ryobi guy, or John for being a DeWalt guy, or why you think Milwaukee's the best. As usual, send us all those emails and let us know what's going on. We really hope you'll keep providing us with feedback, because we appreciate hearing from everybody. And other than that, I think we're good for this one, pal.
Yeah. It was a good talk. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your
toes, not at all. Yeah, I thought this was a good talk too. Thanks again, as always, everybody, for listening at least once more. And while you're out there this week, take a look around the job site. Give us even if you just send us a DM or an email saying, hey, it's 90% Milwaukee, it's 50-50 on my job site. Quick photos, yeah. If you see somebody using a Ryobi tool on a job site, I'd love to see some photos of that, because I got to be honest with you, I haven't seen too many of them. But while you're out there getting after this week, please remember your work keeps the world working. And John, thank you very much for being here again, man.
Yeah, thanks for sitting down with me again, man.
And from the job trailer, again, Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.